Welcome back to Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong. Today's discussion, Realtors, You Caused the Recession, Dumbass. For this entry, I'd like you to look at this as a story, not a lecture. Like all stories, it has a beginning, middle, and end. There have been lots of discussions about the causes of the financial crisis, which is the most controversial economic topic of the last decade. One of the main aspects of the financial crisis is the housing bubble. The housing bubble in the U.S. developed alongside the stock bubble in the mid-90s. Housing prices began to inflate and then burst in the second quarter of 2006. The burst of the U.S. housing market was followed by the outbreak of a global financial crisis in August 2007. Real estate agents played a huge part of the whole story leading to the recession, and it's been grossly overlooked how they have avoided culpability. And it is unacceptable to excuse their conduct by saying that they weren't the only ones. A huge number of new home buyers were encouraged to buy more expensive houses than they could afford, or get adjustable rate mortgages that made properties affordable, but only for a limited period of time. No income, no doc, and stated income loans only allowed and added to the irresponsible nature exhibited by borrowers, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, banks, and investment institutions. We should also keep in mind that the economists in the National Association of Realtors and the National Association of Home Builders failed and did not release any preventive warnings. Realtors pushed values up, artificially based on the cash rewards. Crucial mistakes were made by financial institutions, brokers, and banks. But for some reason, realtors avoided scrutiny. All parties were motivated by profit, greed, and the perception the real estate market had nowhere to go but up. It remains remiss to presume all brokers, banks, investment companies, realtors, borrowers pursuing homes were irresponsible. There are plenty of examples of responsible guidance and choices for and by home buyers. But we have to admit, poor advice, evaluation of the housing and finance industry, and misleading oneself about affordability was at the heart of the problem. What realtors didn't realize or ignored was the number of homeowners with questionable credit and those who had loans for 100% or more of their home's value, homes already upside down. The Community Reinvestment Act pushed banks to make loans in subprime areas, but that wasn't the cause, but it definitely was one of the triggers. Yet still, the realtor industry avoided any culpability. When evaluating causes of the recession, it's extremely obvious that realtors continue to push higher and higher values, creating the bubble. Realtors push values up in part because they made more money. However, some would argue it was simply the nature of the marketplace, and in fact just serendipity. However, greed is often a motivator. Asset bubbles like internet companies, stocks, or housing became inflated beyond their sustainable value. The bubble itself set the stage for a recession to occur when it burst. After the first housing crashes in markets such as Florida, California, Nevada, and Arizona, the economy itself went into a recession. After falling into recession, the combination of ill-conceived loans and an increasing rate of unemployment made by the high standing inventory of housing and an enormously high level of foreclosure activity was just unmanageable. There is a long list of villains who can be blamed for the crisis in the housing market and the recession it caused. Some think it was Alan Greenspan. Others think there are still many different possibilities. But obviously the blame is squarely on the shoulders of realtors, the predicators of value. We have already mentioned how easy access to loans for unqualified buyers affected the overall market situation. This is the part for which real estate agents receive most of the blame, since they knew that their home buyers could get a loan they wouldn't be able to afford. Experts point out that this was also true of home builders, and of course mortgage brokers and their sources of financing. In the first inkling that the economy was in trouble was when housing prices started to drop in 2006. However, at that time realtors were relieved. They thought the overheated housing market would safely return to a more sustainable level. But accountability for the problem to begin with was avoided by realtors, and wrongly so. Their practice of pushing values further and further opened Pandora's box. Simply put, realtors are and were to blame, period.